Crazy day yesterday, and today we are seeing a big bounce in stocks as China cut their rates and the markets are all approving of this move. Looked like we were going to be a little bit bearish to start the day as we had on the 5 minute chart here for SPY what looked like a double top, but after that dip we were able to hold this low. So we have three higher lows forming. We had a low down here at 192.94, another low at 193.74, and then we were able to hold 193.79. So now we're seeing a nice follow through on the bounce. I was watching this 20 period moving average resistance, this green line. You can see it knocked the price down twice and has since busted above it and is now going to back test it as support. So you want to watch to see 194.51 to hold as support here. And you can see the PSAR flipped to a buy as well. Anytime these dots are hit by the candlestick, they flip down, that's a buy. If they drop down and hit the candlestick and they flip up, that's a sell. So right now we flip to a buy. We are looking good for the open here. One thing you want to watch on all the stocks you are watching is the high of the day yesterday. So GoPro had a high of day yesterday of 51.32 and it's going to open right around that level. You want to see if there's resistance there. If it's not, it's going to be a bullish start to the day. I don't know how we'll end up, but it is certainly, the theme of today is optimistically bullish but cautious. So as always, we're going to be using stop losses to limit our downside risk as we try and play these moves. We had Apple currently trading above its high a day, so that's a very bullish sign, going to be a little bit of a gap up. Netflix is $4 under its high of day, and Suni is 60 cents under its high of day. So these stocks are significantly below the high of day, so that can either be taken as a sign that they are laggards and there's opportunity there, or that they are not as strong as the stocks like GoPro and Apple who are trading above their high of day. So we're going to be watching SPY at 197.47, which was the high yesterday. We'll see if it can get up that far. Certainly a bullish start right now, though, with 15 minutes until the open. Seeing the large increase in volume, anytime you see a little uptrend increase in volume is a good sign. And if we see a break of the 195.50 level, we will know that we're going to start the day hot on the bullish side. So let's take a look at some specific stocks on their 5 minute chart this morning. For levels we're going to be looking at, here's Apple. We hit a high up around 110 with Apple and then pulled back. The low that was set was at 107.95, which is still higher than the lows that were back here. So we are maintaining that. We see the increase in volume that is lining up with what SPY is doing, turning the 20 period moving average resistance into support. And we're going to see how Apple reacts to 110. That's going to be a significant level, potentially to either pull back from, or if it breaks through, we know that the bulls are very strong today. Let's look at Tesla here on the 5 minute. Same thing. All the stocks hit their high pre-market roughly the same time and then pulled back, maintaining a higher low than we previously saw early this morning. So Tesla is still struggling to get over its 20 period moving average resistance at 229.70. So Apple, we just looked at, is more bullish in my opinion than Tesla just because of that little fact alone. So watch that 20 period moving average resistance on the 5 minute chart here. GoPro was oversold before the huge sell-off even happened, so definitely a lot of bounce opportunity and a lot of room to run here. With GoPro, we are working on the 20 period moving average resistance as well. That level right now is 51.39 and we are at 51.34. So keep your eye on that level and watch 52 resistance. 52 resistance this morning knocked the price back down. So keep your eye on what the stock did pre-market and how high it went, because that's just as important as now that we're past the high of the day from yesterday, we have to see what the high of pre-market was and if we can get over that resistance. Suni is not looking as well. We are over the 20 period moving average resistance, so that is a plus. We have that at 11.46. You want that to maintain as support. And 11.69 was the high pre-market. So watch 11.69, how it reacts to that first thing in the morning. Let's look at PCLN. PCLN doesn't have a whole lot of volume. Above all of its moving average resistances, so those are all support, and it is looking well. The 200 period moving average support is a biggie, and that's at 1205.41. So keep your eye on that level at the open. And it's also every stock you're looking at. I'm going to be covering SPY most of this morning just to so we can figure out if we're going to have a bullish run all morning or if we're going to see some pullback here. And as I'm watching SPY, you guys look at the tickers you want to be watching, whether it's Apple, GoPro, whatever, and make sure you check the daily chart for moving average resistances or supports, as well as the shorter time frames. I'll keep checking in on other stocks as well, but my main focus is going to be SPY because, as we know, SPY the past couple days has been controlling pretty much what every stock does. If SPY is going up, everything's going up. There have been a few outliers we have found. We saw yesterday Sunni and GoPro held up longer than everything else while it was pulling back. So those have a little bit more strength in my opinion, but we are going to be watching just because we don't want to fall into a bull trap here. Everybody getting exuberant over the good news in China and the markets are so oversold and all that. That could be, you really got to be thinking of it in a cynical mind frame in the sense of what is big money doing right now. Is big money still going to be betting on a bearish market? And right now they're just going to wait until everybody thinks it's all over and then start their bearish attack again? Or what is going to occur? Are we going to see a nice bounce up to the 50-week moving average resistance on SPY and the 200-day moving average resistance, which is still a ways away? We'll have to see how strong this bounce is going to be here. But again, like I said, we are optimistically cautious. So if anybody has any tickers they want me to look at over the next 9 minutes before the market opens, feel free to ask. Let's look at S right now. S is forming lower highs and I think lower lows. Let's see here. 476 was the low on this dip and we're at 476 again. So if it breaks 476, that will be a lower low. Currently below the 20-period moving average resistance of 479. Very key support here is 466 and 465, the 200 and 100 period moving average supports. Let's look at Netflix. Netflix was one of the hardest hit yesterday morning. Currently facing resistance. We had a high here of 106.89, another high of 106.99, and now we're at 106.31. So watch 107, we'll call it. If you break 107, that's a good sign pre-market for Netflix. We will have to keep our eyes on that. So any other tickers? We got FEYE. $38.50 FEYE. We had a high this pre-market of $38.85. The 20-period moving average support is $38.43. So watch $38.43 as support and look for a break of $38.85 resistance. BTU. BTU, we have, it's one of the penny stocks, so I'm not sure how reactive to the market it is. We have support, 200 period moving average support at 168. And we had a high this morning of 174. So 174 is resistance, 175. And we got support on the 200 period moving average. XIV. XIV is finding support and making its way back up on volume. We had a high this morning of 3107, so watch that level. If we see a break at 3107, it will be very bullish. Thank you, Ruff. Glad to have you here. Let's look at VXX. VXX is not looking good. Currently below 20-period moving average support, and the low this morning was 2180. So look at that level. If we break 2180, there's more downside for VXX coming up. Facebook is looking great. It broke its high pre-market. Facebook is the best looking stock we have looked at yet. It's over its resistance seen this morning that other stocks were struggling with, and look at that volume. Looking really good for Facebook. IBM here. We've got IBM setting its high very early this morning at 148.49. That is resistance. We are currently fighting with the 20 period moving average resistance of 147.36. We're actually right above that level, so that's still support. Looking to set a new high above 148.49, currently at 148. Let's look at BABA here. BABA had a really rough day as it has no previous price history to find support at. You can see a nice uptrend today, finding resistance at 69.50. Just pulled back from there again on high volume, so we are watching 69.50 for a break there. For BABA, it'll be bullish, and we have support here on the low pre-market here, 68.35 on this little dip. So we want to stay above 68.35 and ideally break 69.50 if you are a bull on BABA. 5 minutes to go until market open. We've got Apple here, seeing a lot of volume, turning its 20 period moving average resistance into support. We had a high this morning get knocked back from 110 twice, so that is the key level we're watching. If we see a break of 110, it will develop there. We're going to see if we can break it out. Let me check back in on SPY just to see how we're shaping up. Looking really good. Look at that steady increase in volume. That's a great sign on this uptrend. Currently hitting the resistance that it pulled back from twice. We had a high here of 195.62 and a high here of 195.48. So now we had a high of 195.43. So still a lower high, two lower highs in a row. We want to break. First we want to break 195.45, and then we want to go after the high of pre-market, which was 195.62. If we see a break of 195.62 in the next few minutes or first thing in the morning, it'll be a good sign for the bulls. So we got 3 minutes to go here. We're seeing a little bit of consolidation on SPY after a nice steady uptrend the past 20 minutes. It was looking a little bleak here as we were fighting the 20 period moving average resistance and getting knocked down a few times, but that is now support. So everything is looking good for the markets. We will see if this bullish rally can hold. Judging by what SPY is doing here, I would expect in the first 20 minutes to see, obviously we're going to see wild volatile action, but I would expect it to be bullish in the first 20 minutes, and then we'll have to settle back in and see which direction we're going to head for the rest of the morning. So watch this volume here. Anytime you see a pullback candlestick, you watch the volume. If you're bullish, a decrease in the volume is a good sign on any kind of pullback. Right now we have 3 minutes left to go in this candlestick. So this might be a significant amount of volume, but as you can see with the lower wick here now, it is bulls buying up this dip. That's where the volume is coming from. So we're making our way to try and break the high of 195.62. Look at that volume pouring in now on the bull side. Looking really good. 2 minutes to go here until open. Rough. I have been watching 3D stocks. I've been watching DDD and SYSS. I don't know if it's going to be a turnaround for the industry as a whole, but it is certainly one of the more oversold stocks I have come across, which piques my interest. I really like playing bounces on oversold stocks. So volume is looking good here. 2 minutes left to go, but looking like it's not going to break 195. What was the mark? 195.62, which is the target we are looking at. I say not going to break it. I mean in the next 2 minutes. It could absolutely break it within the first minute of open. But yeah, 3D printing stocks was definitely a bubble, and it's definitely corrected itself significantly. I think we could see a turnaround there within the next year or so. Probably even sooner, but we'll keep an eye on it. I'm watching the weekly charts on those stocks. So 1 minute to go here. I'm going to stay live into the open just because things are so action-packed. I'm actually going to tap out for just 1 minute here, and I will be right back for the open. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will talk to you in a minute.